Alright, let's talk about the companies that run most of the internet. Every app you use, every website you visit, and every file you save in the cloud, it all lives on servers owned by a handful of companies. But who actually owns the cloud? And more importantly, who's making the most money off of it? The three companies that run the internet. Amazon, Microsoft, Google. These three are the undisputed kings of cloud computing, controlling over 65% of the entire market. That means most of what happens online, streaming, social media, business apps, even government services, are sitting on infrastructure owned by one of these giants. AWS is the biggest name in the game, holding around 31% of the market. They were the first to make cloud computing mainstream, and they've built a service catalog so huge it feels like you need a PhD just to navigate it. If your company needs computing power, storage, AI, or basically any cloud service imaginable, AWS has it. But that flexibility comes at a cost, literally. AWS pricing can get so complex that some companies hire specialists just to understand their bill. Microsoft Azure is next in line, sitting at about 24% of the market. And let's be honest, a big part of that is because Microsoft already has its foot in the door of most enterprises. If you're using Windows, Office 365, or any Microsoft software, integrating with Azure is almost too easy. They're also going all in on artificial intelligence, thanks to their partnership with OpenAI, making Azure a major player in cloud-based workloads in this field. Then there's Google Cloud at around 11%. It's not winning in market share, but it's making waves in AI, big data, and Kubernetes. Google invented Kubernetes, and they've been pushing hard to make Google Cloud the best place for AI and machine learning workloads. But here's the problem. Google has a reputation for shutting down products, which makes some companies hesitant to fully commit to their cloud platform. So that's the big three, but what about the rest? The other big players that are still in the fight. While AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud take most of the spotlight, they're not the only ones running the cloud game. There are other providers carving out their own niches. Alibaba Cloud holds around 4% of the global market and dominates in China. If you're a business operating in Asia, Alibaba Cloud might be your best or only option due to strict regulations that make it difficult for foreign cloud providers to operate in China. They offer a lot of the same services as AWS, but with a focus on compliance with Chinese government policies. Then there's Oracle Cloud, clinging to about 2 to 3% of the market. Oracle's strategy is simple. Lock customers into their ecosystem. If your company relies on Oracle databases, switching to Oracle Cloud might make sense because it's optimized for their software. But let's be real, nobody outside of Oracle's existing customers is rushing to sign up. IBM Cloud is another player that used to have a shot, but now holds just around 2% of the market. IBM is still big in hybrid cloud solutions, and they own Red Hat, which helps them in enterprise infrastructure. But their public cloud offerings have struggled to keep up with AWS and Azure. The niche players filling in the gaps. Not every company needs a massive enterprise-grade cloud provider, and that's where the niche players come in. DigitalOcean is a go-to for startups and indie developers who want simple, cost-effective cloud hosting without the AWS complexity. It's easy to use and gets the job done for small teams who just need to deploy applications quickly. Linode, now owned by Akamai, is another solid option for developers who don't want to deal with AWS's endless options and pricing models. It's straightforward, affordable, and just works. Vultr is another favorite among indie developers who need high-performance virtual machines without the hassle of dealing with a massive cloud provider. And then there's OVH Cloud, a European cloud provider gaining traction with companies that want to avoid using US-based providers for regulatory reasons. For businesses concerned about data privacy and compliance, OVH Cloud is still a solid alternative. Why market share doesn't tell the whole story. It's easy to look at the numbers and assume AWS is the best choice just because they have the biggest market share, but the reality is more complicated. AWS is great for startups and companies that need the most flexibility, but Microsoft Azure dominates in the enterprise world because of its deep Microsoft integration. Meanwhile, Google Cloud is where you go if you need cutting-edge AI and machine learning capabilities. And then there's the multi-cloud approach. Many companies don't just pick one provider, they mix and match. Maybe they run their website on AWS, store AI models on Google Cloud, and keep databases on Azure. Using multiple cloud providers lets companies optimize for cost, performance, and risk management. Who actually runs the cloud? So, who really runs the cloud? If we're talking about sheer dominance, AWS is number one. But if we're talking about influence, it depends on the workload. Azure owns the enterprise world, Google Cloud is the AI leader, Alibaba dominates in China, and niche providers are giving developers more choices than ever. But here's what they all have in common. Cloud costs can get out of control fast. Cloud providers are designed to scale, but that also means they're designed to let you overspend. If you're not actively managing your cloud usage, you're probably wasting money. The one thing you need to watch out for. It doesn't matter which cloud provider you use, costs can spiral out of control in a hurry. Cloud services are built to be flexible, but they're also built to be expensive if you're not paying attention. That's why having real-time cost tracking and optimization tools is critical. If you want to understand where your cloud spend is actually going, check out CloudZero. It gives you real-time visibility into every dollar spent, so you're never caught off guard by a surprise cloud bill. Like this breakdown? Hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into cloud computing, cost optimization, and the tech that powers the internet. See you in the next one.